Run the tape. Now, there's a low-hanging fruit that every politician can use to capture Gen Z. A low-hanging fruit. It's like and I'll keep repeating this. Where is Shebesh?
Where is Shebesh?
Have you ever kula tear gas?
From far, it was still terrible.
Governor.
Where are people getting billions?
Do you know how much money is stolen in Kenya? This man was taking advantage of people because of their socioeconomic status. This is a form of neocolonialism. A guy is like, yo, you want to get some cheap tea? What's good, people? It's time for an awesome episode of Boxpod. By the way, if you haven't subscribed, just now, stop what you're doing, subscribe, like, share, comment, even before you have watched the episode. I'm very excited because I've got an awesome guest who's joining me, and I was on his pod, and now Eric Musioka. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Did I call you Musioka?
Yes.
Mutiso.
I get that a
Jesus
lot.
Christ.
Don't worry. Don't even fuss. That's okay.
No. Eric Mutiso. Why was I thinking about Musioka? Because that's Nani. That's
the producer.
Yeah.
I get that a lot though.
Really?
Mutinda, Mutua, Musioka.
No. It's Mutiso. What you talking about?
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's a pleasure. Privilege to be here. Legend in the game.
Aha.
So I'm happy to be here.
That's how people call you old. But anyway, you should check out his podcast. It's called Every Other Day.
Every other time with Eric.
Every Other Time with Eric. EOTWE.
Affirmative.
I know the abbreviations. Wow, I marked that up. But hey, don't judge. It's going to be an awesome podcast. Now, Eric, there's a lot of things we need to unpack. Already we've had like a podcast.
Mini pod before the pod.
Right? And I told the crew that they need to do behind the scenes because a lot of things usually happen, but we haven't started. Anyway, you are privileged because we're going to unpack a lot of things. It's time for Run the Tape. It's as simple as that.
Okay.
We talk about a story. And why we say run the tape is because we need evidence. See tu ati unajua nilisikia. Ulisikia? Use your eyes, not your ears.
That's the name of our episode, by the way. It's going to be dropping anytime now. It's probably already dropped. Go check out Every Other Time with Eric on YouTube, Spotify, everywhere that you watch podcasts and listen to podcasts.
Bruh, I feel like I ungeared in that episode.
No, it was awesome.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
All right. Are you following election? You know, we're in election season.
Oh, yes.
Did you see Sifuna acting like a ninja?
Sisi Sifuna. Is it CCC?
Mimi ndio Sifuna.
Mheshimiwa Rais, mimi ndio Sifuna.
Mimi ndio Sifuna.
I mean, I'm a conspiracy theorist at heart. I think it's all bought and paid for already.
You know, after you said that, I went and did my research. And I asked myself, have vijana walitoa pesa ya track na kufanya campaign across the country wapi?
There's an analogy I like to use. This game has to be Manu, Arsenal. Being that the two divides, that is the government and the opposition.
No.
Or purported.
2 term or 1 term?
Or 2 term or 1 term.
There we go.
And if you try coming here with your AFC Leopards, that is now Maraga or your... Which other teams are there?
Matiangi.
Rangers.
What we're realizing is guys just don't like his. That's it. That's it.
The game is rigged, and I think even someone as smart as Sifuna or as smart as Babu, they know who the powers that be here are. The best that they can do is posture and make a name for themselves, because being in active opposition is also hella lucrative.
It's true.
The biggest guy who just was the biggest power broker that Kenya has ever seen is since deceased. There's a void there. These guys have seen an opportunity. They're going to become unimaginably rich from this opposition thing.
Absolutely. You know, I always say, if you study, for example, Kalonzo's career, Kalonzo will always say, today I'm going for the top seat, but he will never. He will never, ever go for that top seat because he knows. And then he's taught people like Alfred Butua, just get a party, get some numbers.
Bought off.
And then when it now time comes to amalgamate, I'll be at the table.
Mudavadi as well. They mastered the art of the business of politics. Yeah. No. I think I'm going to go at this alone. Then for 5 months, I've decided that these guys align with my ethos.
And that's so crazy because 2 minutes ago, you're busy calling them, nani ni mwizi? Nani alifanya? Ati anakuja kutuambia? And then the next thing you're like, wearing the same kofias. It's like, it's crazy. Anyway, I saw him actually, was it in Kakamega or somewhere during this weekend?
Yes.
And of course, in true, mi najua hizi zote ni kiki. You know, this is all showbiz, right? Because tear gas was nini too poured, and now Akina Babu are like, yo, Omolo, stop this, And me, I know that all these guys are together. Like, until I see anything that like really just makes me go like, no, actually, I know that they are together. When tear gas was poured in the campaign,
Hatutoroki leo, zima hiyo kitu mkutano iendelee. Zima hiyo kitu mkutano iendelee, hatutoroki leo.
have you ever cooled tear gas?
From far, it was still terrible.
Me, I've cooled tear gas.
Gen Z?
Yee. I cooled so much tear gas. My doctor told me, listen, you cannot go to the streets anymore. It was carrying my lungs. Right?
And apparently it has permanent damage,
Yes.
I hear.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
prolonged exposure.
Yes. There's that one for poof. Kwambox kimbia. Imagine, right? And water. Anyway, I don't want to remember that.
Is the water itchy? I've heard rumors.
But it's, I don't even think the itchiness is the crazy. It's the pressure of the water. That thing almost dislocated my knee. So, I stopped playing basketball because I had a knee injury. And then I just remember this thing turning. And it doesn't, like, you think at that point, you're going to be fast.
Yeah.
You remember me telling you, I'm a babe 4? There's no flight or fright. It's statue. Right? And this thing just turned like this. And then the guy just chomwa tear gas there. And then I just remember we were a heap of bodies on top of each other. Right? And then it was going on for so long. Like, if you're facing the water, chances are you could have drowned. Because it's like waterboarding. Right? And then on top of that, another tear gas. Like, at that point, there's a breaking point in every human. At that point, and there's this iconic photo, hopefully the producer is running it. I don't know who took it, but I just stood up and said, you know what, fuck it, niue. And I walked home. In the middle of there's tear gas, there's stones, I was not even flinching. I was drenched from head to toe, and I just walked home.
That was a very interesting season for me because I have a Gen Z wife. She's born the first of the Gen Zs, and she's an advocate by profession. And of course, me being a bit older, I remember telling her, no, let's stay home. She's like, nah, I'm leaving work. Meanwhile, our company made sure there was provision for you to show up to work. If you're flying in the evening, there's a hotel near the airport. We've booked for you guys rooms. Come and cool over there as you wait to do your. So a lot of times I was driving through, because where I live. I was driving through, when you come down Bunyala, barricades, and then I'm in uniform, and they let me. So I felt like it was such a weird. I was driving through the protest somewhat. Yeah, strange time for me. And then of course the duality in the home where I'm like, let's chill. Like, let's not go to the streets, like literally. And my wife is like, nah, man, we need to go out there. So
No.
I felt like a sellout.
Yeah. But you know what it is? Like, I think now you see you're the one who said not sell out. The only sellout here is Casmuel. Anyway, if you still don't understand why, we follow. Did you see him being chased in Tao?
Recently?
Yeah.
Oh, recently?
Like, after we recorded, like, I think it was Thursday. I think he tried to, because it's clear that he's being used to get youth support, because they can see that he had some, he's charismatic and he knows how to talk to the youth, or so they thought. And I think Mashinani, he can be able to pull some of this stuff off. But here in Nairobi, we were on the streets, bro. And then you come to tell me what? Unakuja kuniambia nini?
I think he needs a security detail.
Me nakupiga coffee. What are you talking? There's nothing you're telling me, bro. Anyway, we don't condone violence, but I'll tell you who condones violence later on in this episode. So there's someone who we all need to pay attention. But they come over buying glasses in your time.
Taking glasses off, this is serious.
No, what did I say? I said, this is the time we need to, now is the time to really start reading between the lines, okay? If there's no time, this is the time. So let's start off with Kihika, right? What do you think of Susan Kihika as a governor for Nakuru? Have you seen Nakuru?
From the little the last I was in Nakuru was about a year ago. That place hasn't changed much.
Yeah.
There's been little to no improvement. And of course, she famously went to give birth in the States, meaning she doesn't trust her own healthcare services that she's implementing. Most recently, I think yesterday or the day before, was that she's built some very elaborate apartments in Nairobi. And, of course, ni God. Ni God.
Hold that thought. For those who don't know, Susan Kihika's dad was an MP.
Kihika Kimani.
Kihika Kimani. Actually, I iconically remember him because KJ used to tweet.
Kihika Kimani.
I was like, oh my God. Anyway, so Susan Kihika, who's the governor of Nakuru, is on Run the Tape. And, you know, she's of course in campaign mode, telling people to give her another term, right? And this time she promises she will do the work. If you think I'm playing, let me run the tape.
Na kwanza cause nimemaliza yangu kazi nimefanya ama sifanyi, na hiyo ni 3 years, na mjue mwaka ya kwanza hata sikuweza kufanya, ni ile mashida nilikuwa nayo. Sasa hii miaka miwili imebaki, na I promise I will do more than even what nimefanya miaka 3. Na hapo ndio nawaomba mnipee term ya pili niweze kunyorosha Nakuru County.
Wow. So there's Kihika, and you can see, of course, bot crowd, because there's no normal person who goes to a place like, but also I've noticed that people usually go to these things and people don't call these people out. They're just like, the person coughs.
They get starstruck. I think people get starstruck because in Kenya, our biggest celebs are politicians. So guys might have internal feelings, and then when they see the person, I'm seeing a guy, what guy is bowing down there? So guys like...
Yes, because there's this thing that has been introduced in Kenya, Nini, Igwe. And Kenya's like, oh God, let's go to... I'm like, ugh.
What is Igwe? Like what? Like...
It's like I think in Nigeria, Igwe is boss, like chief.
Oh my God! So that's what they're. Oh
Exactly.
My God! Okay.
You get it.
Yeah.
But this is what her senator had to say, and I actually didn't know this story. This is what you were talking about.
Tumeona sasa pesa yetu imetembeleka wapi? Nairobi. Si amejenga sasa in posh estates, Roresho estate. Si ni kweli? Amejenga nini? Mumeziona? Na wana haya. Ufungua mchana farigishi. Mukiangalia mukijua pesa yenu yote imeenda. Sio ni kumtapikia kwa miguu. Kwa sababu hata viatu hatuna. Si ni miguu. Kwani watu hawajuagi Mungu? Watu hana utu? Si tuko hapo?
That's the senator of Nakuru, who is also the founder of Keroche Empire, Tabitha Karanja, and she was speaking to an audience and just letting them know, like, bro, this babe has apartments in Loresho. Let's do the math. A governor gets a salary of how much?
Let's exaggerate. Let's say 2 mic.
It's not 2 mic. The president didn't get even 2 mic.
That's what I'm saying. Let's exaggerate.
Okay, 2 mic.
To give us some leeway.
Times 12, 24. Times 5. The math is not math.
Impossible.
Yeah. The math is not math.
The apartments block she's built are definitely at least north of 1.8, maybe 2B total. Yeah. So 2 billion. Where did she get 2 billion? Where are you guys getting billions? Where are people getting billions?
Do you know how much money is stolen in Kenya?
Someone was saying it's now gone from 2B a day to 5B.
Yes. That's where
day.
we're at. Yeah.
My good friend Sajid Coffee Pump Podcast was telling me that with the data he has, Kenya operates on 10% of what it generates. And think about it, 10% was still kind of okay. Imagine if it was just even 60. Because I remember there's a famous thing about how the Afrikaners in South Africa, the reason South Africa developed where it reached by the time 94 came about, like infrastructure and all, because they adopted a philosophy of 70-30. 70, we do the job. 30, let's cooler.
Yeah.
And that's how SA was able to. They're like, okay, we must benefit somehow. But now us, it's 90-10.
Yeah.
Yes.
And even I think SA right now is at 90-10.
Right now, yeah.
I've even seen the roads.
Maybe 95-5.
Bruh, you know, the first time I went to SA, I thought I was in. Whoa! I was like, what? Last year. We're on potholes.
But the saddest thing I saw, I was in Cape Town last year with my wife. Cape Town is now run by the DA, and Cape Town is beautiful.
Beyond.
Nothing has changed. It's just moving the way things are supposed to move. Johannesburg now, ANC strongholds. Like my parents were saying how they did a tour and the tour guide was black and he was saying how he wishes apartheid could come back because there are certain basics that they had. A black guy in South Africa saying that he wishes apartheid could come back. Think about that.
I mean, there are people who...
How can you fumble
Yeah.
like that as a leadership?
And that comes from, I always tell people that the one thing that I fear the most for us Kenyans is that when, like now, like we're still operating with that 10%. And that's because we haven't been hit, like say, with the problems that Iran are facing right now, right? And one of the major reasons that Iran is on the street is because of water, right? I don't know if you know.
There's no clean water.
There's no water, right? And we have reached that place as a world where we are getting to water bankruptcy. And so I know Cape Town is one of the cities in Africa that is literally at that point, right? They'll say things like, when it's yellow, let it mellow. When it's brown, flush it down.
Oh my goodness.
Right? And they calculate how much, but it's very much politics because there's supposed to be a certain amount of liters that every house is supposed to use. But I mean, you can't compare someone who has a swimming pool with someone who doesn't, but water bankruptcy is a real thing. And so like Iran, a whole lake disappeared, rivers, Tehran has no drop of water. And that's the capital city. The government was forced to, like, the only thing they can do is now you gotta evacuate. Imagine like Nairobi reaching a place where you have to evacuate. Now, when we reach a place like that, because we're not just water bankrupt, we are also morally bankrupt, right? We allow things to happen. You see people stealing billions and billions and siphoning them and planting for you apartments in Loresho, and you do nothing about it. And when that time comes, when it's now down to human basics, if you're...
Do you think you're far from that?
If you think I'm joking, what's the price of soda in Kenya?
Like a 300 ml?
Like a 300 ml.
I'd guess.
I think it's like 40.
60
I actually don't know. What's the price of a soda? 300 ml? Or 500 ml?
60 more?
45.50, right? Do you know how much a bottle of water that same amount is?
It's a bit more.
Yes, it's much more, right? So water is more expensive than soda.
In South Africa that you speak of, a quart, the big beer, the 660 ml,
Yeah.
is 16 rand. And I was like, and now one of our tour guides was also telling us that he was Zimbabwean, and Zimbabweans, of course, have taken a lot of the labor force because they're better employees.
Yeah.
You
don't want to say that out loud while South Africans are watching.
The cost of alcohol has gone so low. And this is not kumi. This is like their castle, the normal beer, the would-be Tusker here. To the point where now culturally, it's a thing for Thursday to Monday evening. Guys are drunk in the localities. So much so that Monday is like it's like a running joke that guys don't
go to job.
They don't report to work. They call it babblers. Babblers is a hangover. But what intentionality is there for a beer, a quart, which is like a mzinga of beer, to be 16 rand? 16 rand, do 16 times 7.
Yes. And water is more expensive than that. Now, here's where it gets crazy because a bottle of soda, to make 1 liter of soda, you require at least 20 liters of water. So how is soda cheaper than water? Do that.
Only game.
Exactly. Okay? Who owns, look at all your mineral water. They're all privately owned. Okay? And where there is the rivers in your communities, you are soiling them. Right? So when we do get to this moment, because if you look at where Iran is seated, we're not, we are part of that horn. We are part of the Horn of Africa. A lot of Kenyans think that that's where Uganda. We are not. We're like TZ. We are not, right? So whatever Iran is experiencing in terms of drought is what we are currently experiencing.
What keeps us from revolting? What is that guardrail? Is it? I think it's what we're discussing before the pod. The pod before the pod.
Yeah.
It's the religions. It's allowed to thrive in Kenya and just be. I think guys are forgetting that they're so focused on Jesus help me. They're forgetting that the guys who can help you are not helping you. And I think that's one of the biggest guardrails from the system imploding.
Yeah.
Because what keeps guys from revolting?
It's the meekness. And remember, I was telling you how I was reading Nietzsche, and he was speaking about this in the 15th century, telling Christians, actually castigating Christians, that, it's not that you're being meek. At some point, you have to acknowledge that you have given up. Right? It's not that okay, God will do this for you. It's that you are actually just minusing yourself from the conversation.
Naweza.
Exactly. Na si kuwezwa ni ile tu, yani hautaki do anything about it. And so you call yourself meek. But are you really meek? Because meek is not sitting down and waiting for someone to fight your battles. And I think Kenyans are seated here thinking that there will be a savior that will come. And that's why every election, there's always someone who stands up. Like right now, I'm not criticizing, I'm just speaking of facts. But Bowino seems like the savior for Nairobi. Rather than hold Sakaja accountable because he's still collecting his mshande.
But also attached to that meekness is how we are socialized for self. So everyone in their whatever capacity, it could be Governor Susan Kieka level or stonemason level.
Yeah.
Everyone is just trying to benefit themselves and trying to finesse the other. And I think that's a big part of our culture that keeps us from actually holding these people accountable. Because we look at corruption, Kenyans talk about corruption from a jealous point of view.
Yeah.
They're like, if I was the one who was there, even me I'd finesse. Like, it's almost expected. We expect guys to enter power and then we wait for the scandal. It's like, now he's taken. That's literally what we wait for.
Michaela Owen, It's Our Turn to Eat, mentions this in the 80s, right? That you could see already that there were people, if you haven't read that book, go and get it. It's Our Turn to Eat. I'm sure it's available in all bookstores in Kenya. But do Kenyans read? I know you do. There's bookstores popping up everywhere. So I know that people read. In this book, she mentions how, like, for example, Kenya, like, we can still see the same power games being played, right? Kenyans have always asked, like, okay, if we're losing this amount of money, okay, let's put it in a commercial bank perspective, right? You've gone to the bank. You've told them, give me 12 meter. I'm going to do XX nini. See, of course, they have to come and vet, see how your books are nini. And then they notice that 12 million, right? Like 8 million disappeared.
9.5.
9.5. It's not even 9. Only 500 is left, right? And so they can see that you're not using this money correctly. And then you manage to come and, because your cousin also works at the bank, so you manage to get another 24, right? Now double. That they're doubling down on, Yeah. At what point would they keep giving you this money? Would they keep giving you this loan, knowing that it's not going to the intended purpose, which makes it very difficult for you to be able to pay the money back?
Of course, certainly not. In a bank environment, definitely they would
They
not.
wouldn't do that. But here we have a scenario where we're getting more loans, right? While the tap is bigger, is getting bigger. We've moved from 2 billion if in Uhuru's famous, run that tape, right? And there he's getting so annoyed. I think he was lit also that day. So annoyed.
I think we never used to count the days he was late. We'd count the days he was sober.
He was, yeah. So he's telling us, and I think it shocked Kenyans that we're losing 2 billion a day, right? But I think, in the words of Kikombe, the podcaster, I don't think people understand just how much 2 billion is. And we've moved from that to allegedly 5 billion.
5 billion a day.
A day.
What's that times 365?
Look, count it
Business
in hospitals.
days or business days.
Count it in apartments. In
my
Loresho.
God, my God.
Count it in schools. Count it in jobs, right? And speaking of jobs, young men, actually this government, what's the government's policy on jobs?
Do they have a policy on
Yeah. There's a clear policy on jobs. Job creation.
I remember they said they were, I remember their promises. I don't know if they actually backed it up with now policy when they got in, but they were meant to generate, was it couple 100,000 jobs a year or something?
The thing you didn't ask is, where will these jobs be? Right? Because how many times are people being shipped off CG to UAE? Guys are being told, in fact, there was a day, I'm sure we can find that clip where the president is standing and addressing Kenyans. I don't know whether it's the president or it was the Mudavadi. And he's telling Kenyans, we have to go out there and work, right? We have to go out there and work.
In the digital and creative economy, we have trained 2 million Kenyans in digital skills and nearly 300,000 are already earning income. Through the Kazi Maju program, nearly 500,000 Kenyans have secured well-paying job opportunities abroad in the last 3 years. We have also launched the Kenya shillings 20 billion Nyota program to support 820,000 young people with training, with mentorship, certification, and business capital. The first phase is complete, with 12,500 beneficiaries already receiving their first business support. And the national program is now being rolled out.
In slavery, what's the difference?
And he was even telling us how we're such good workers. They keep telling us how well Kenyans are doing out there. Because you guys are sharp and
We've just done a deal with Germany. The deal is that we're going to get, of course, you know such deals. I'm sure you know what's happening with Europe right now. Did you see Nani's speech? What's this guy? Secretary of State?
Secretary of State, Rubio. Marco Rubio.
Marco Rubio went to Europe, just the EU, right? And I just said colonialism, right? Because he was basically, we'll run a bit of that clip, but he's basically saying that
for 5 centuries before the end of the Second World War, the West had been expanding. Its missionaries, its pilgrims, its soldiers, its explorers pouring out from its shores to cross oceans, settle new continents, build vast empires extending out across the globe.
They should not be ashamed of their past, right? They should hold hands and forge forward and take as much terrain as possible.
But America started posturing like that, where they're saying that we're moved from this phase, now we're moving into our empire phase. Like, where now it's I'm the big dog around here. I think Venezuela was a dry run to see the world's response. Now, granted, Maduro was there. Maduro was in as much as people don't say sovereignty, he was an asshole, let's be real. He was a mass murderer, dictator pro max. But Venezuela was still a sovereign country. That was just a trisex. Let's see what the world, how the world takes this. Let's see how our fellow superpowers take this. Now, what are you telling China with such behavior? Even about Taiwan, which is close to them. But what about the wider world? World War III might be fought for, in a literal sense, for just territory again, and we're taking over territory. It's a scary concept because we thought these are things we had advanced long from.
That's what you thought. And when you start thinking like that, that's where problems begin. Because when you see this speech that Rubio is basically coaxing Europe and telling them, stop sleeping, right? Stop being passive. Okay? Let's own our heritage, right? This sounds like 1886 Brussels Convention, right? And, it is what it is. But let's come back to our people, because in the question we're asking, where does Africa sit in all this? And here we have our government that's signing deals with Germany, signing deals with, other countries to send Kenyans to work there, right? But this country we didn't sign a deal with them. I don't think there's a deal unilaterally or bilaterally that's saying we will send you Kenyans to fight in your war with Ukraine, right? And why do you think Russia needs Kenyans to fight?
It's purely front lines. I think South Park have done a famous episode about blacks and front lines, but they just want guys to...
You've just reminded me.
They just want guys to go there, and because when it comes to boots on the ground, part of tactic is to have a certain quota of people die before you're able to achieve your goal, because you're also depleting the other person's resources by them having to take these people out. So who better than some jobless Africans, of course, in the eyes of how I'd imagine these guys are looking at it, guys who are willing to come and I saw even, despite Larry doing his expose, guys are there in the comments saying, how do I sign up? And that just speaks to me to a wider socioeconomic problem that, like, people are willing to die, like, just to have a chance to live. How crazy is that?
That's so wild. And I don't know whether it's you who told me that, someone told me that they gave me a different perspective. They were like, Putin at this point can't end the war because he has these soldiers that he needs to, after the war is done, he has to pay them. He has to now give them, otherwise he creates a big problem. And so that the war can still continue persisting. Right?
And at the top, or that level, at the Putin level, the war machine benefits business. So the military-industrial complex continues.
Yes.
So they're not suffering. Of course, the people would suffer. The middle class now will start feeling it. But at the helm,
them, they are good.
it's biashara.
But as in Kenyans, we have to be asked, like, how many times do you want to be dished by Russians? Last week, I was talking about that Russia
Russiagate. We're just coming off Russiagate. The guy, better Ray-Ban Russia guy.
Anyway, so you've spoken about Kenyans in the comment section saying they want to the jobs, right? Now, there's Kenyans who are in the job speaking out. I want you to run this tape.
Hapa ni hospitali, tuko hospitali Alchevsk, Luhansk region huko Ukraine. Hatujapelekwa kule Russia, tunatibiwa hapa. So ni hivyo, hapa ni hospitali, tuliumia miguu juu ya drone attack. Tuko Wakenya 3 hapa kwa hospitali, wengine walishatolewa. So ni hivyo, unaona hadi hapo kuna uniform. Yeah. Tunaomba tu usaidizi. Serikali tusaidie. Yeah, itusaidie tuweze kutoka hapa. Kwa maana huko forest mambo si mazuri, tunaumia. Wengi wanakufa tukiona na macho. Hapa ni hospitali yenye tuko saizi. Hapa ni Ukraine.
All right. So that's Kenyans who are injured. They're fighting for Russia. They're fighting in the Russian army, but they are injured in Ukraine because they're the front lines. So they're in Ukraine, and they are now of course they were captured, right? Because the Geneva Convention, you can't just take people and massacre them. They must have waved the white flag, and they were taken to hospital, which is what should happen. But now they're appealing because now Russia has abandoned them there, right? First, can we just talk about those beds? For that it looked like a random hosi in Kapta somewhere. It looks like,
and it's winter outside.
Bruh, it's cold.
That's hell.
It's hell. It's crazy. Now here's my question. I know that just because people are poor, and we mentioned this in the Russiagate story, right? That this man was taking advantage of people because of their socioeconomic status. This is a form of neocolonialism. A guy is like, yo, you want to get some cheap tea? You can come to, and this is how you can do it. Because he was actually teaching people how to bag these women.
You look very beautiful. Literally, that's what it's like.
He had a nini. Like he was training people how to bag babes.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that element.
He's a teacher, right?
Damn.
That's why I told people, guys, you can't make this about women. You gotta look at it really, the larger picture. Anywho, here's a young man, right? Because, hey, thank God, kuna jobs zingine madema tufanye. But I know there's a babe who's just like, and I'll show you the babe. These are young men who hawana mbele wala nyuma, and they're like looking at this as an option. And so they're being taken advantage of by a country that needs bodies. Is this fair?
It's very unfair. But now, I've never been that level of impoverished to the point where I would want to go potentially lose my life. However, in darker times for myself, I envisioned going to work on a ship. Like, I know that especially if you have people behind you, like I had a fiance at the time, no kids, but I was thinking bigger picture. So I can imagine if you don't have, remember Katrina's trying shit, won't work, trying shit. Imagine trying shit for like 5-6 years and hakuna form. I think there's a lot of Kenyans who are living like that. And let me go try. I died trying. Yeah.
Get rich or die trying. And it's not even about being rich.
This is what happens now, unfortunately.
So
whose fault is this though?
That's the question, because you see, they've made the decision to use, because Kenya is categorical about the fact that they do not have a bilateral agreement with Russia, because the only way this would work is if Kenya had an agreement and then they'd send actually trained soldiers. Right? So people in the army, they'd send a unit, right? But that's not what's happening.
Like Haiti.
Yes.
Which is also
God. Anyway, that's a story for another day. But bring it to individuals. So there's an individual. In SA, it was Zuma's daughter. Her agency was taking people. So they are all over Africa doing this thing, right?
So there's an agency right now taking these guys.
That's kwani unafikiria ati Russia inakuja kukuchukua? Because the Russian embassy is saying, as we don't know how these guys are ending up in Russia.
So wait a minute, you just blown my mind. There.
Yes.
I didn't know that's why you were building to.
That's so now when they're telling us that serikali's idea, right? And the government has been very clear that we don't have an agreement with Russia like this. So how are you ending up here?
So it's one of these job agencies, these bureaus where guys say
Exactly.
So but now does the person know they're going as a soldier undercover? Like does he know the information undercover and is told Cheza Chini?
These ones know that they are going to Russia because you can see most of the ones, they are those who are tricked, right? They're those ones who are tricked. You're told you're going for a jobo, you're going to be a chef.
Imagine being tricked into the front lines.
Yeah, bros. There was a guy who did a story Agnini. And you as if this is even terrible, right? And let me tell you how, like, as much as we've been programmed to face West, like, I really love how China deals with some of these things. So last month, China did an invasion of the scam centers, which a lot of Kenyan men have found themselves, you're tricked into thinking you're going for a jobo, right? And this is, remember, I premised this story by saying this government's policy on jobs has been go out there and bring us foreign currency.
Where does this scream? There's like a slavery backdrop.
This, of course,
in all of this.
Of course, so Kenyans, because we're really good with English, right? So, and we're very tech savvy, so it's very easy to run the scam. So what they do, you as a Kenyan, you're taken. You're like, there was a guy. He's a chef, right? So he was told he's getting a job in Thailand as a chef. So anafika, and the red flags are everywhere. You're going for a job as a chef and you're being picked in a Benzo. VIP. Yeah? Or there's a guy who was being taken to Frontline Russia and was picked in a Range Rover. And the guy has choboked straight from Jewish village. That's the first sign you're being abducted, right? So this guy is taken, they Peter Thailand, he's landed at the airport in the capital city, then he's taken, kidogo, he knows that if you're being picked from the airport, maximum 40 minutes I should be at the place. But then 3 hours later, you're at a border somewhere, right? And there's 3 other Kenyans in the car. And then wanavukishwa, they're in Myanmar, right? Of course, you don't know the difference because it's not like there's a border saying, welcome to Myanmar. It's Kichochoro, Kiriva, Maze. And at this point, you're in trouble. Worst thing, you don't have a SIM card that's working. So you're at the benevolence of the driver, right? Who's hotspotting you. Once he starts to realize you're guzanaing nini, he disconnects the internet. Now, what are you going to do? You're going to run to where? So, but you're still hopeful in your mind that, okay, it might not be the place where I wanted, but let's go see. And then you get there, it's Aki boarding in the middle of nowhere, right? Kaki unit. And the first thing they take you, they say, all right, listen, right? This is what you're going to be doing on a daily basis. You have to hit X amount, like let's say $5,000, right? And if you don't, they torture you. Like waterboarding, electrocuting your nuts.
My goodness.
Right? So today, labda umekuwa shy unasema, ama unajua ile
Introvert.
Ukenya. Introvert. If you're willing to cross the ocean, you are not an introvert. You're sitting there telling yourself, unajua ile Ukenya. There's nothing you'll say. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And they showed, like, there's videos on TikTok of people's nuts being electrocuted. And then now, the next day, you know what you're doing? You're cutting a
Jason Patrick and Primeheimer.
You're cutting a mzungu over there.
So it's mainly love scamming.
All sort of scam. Whatever scam you can be able to pull off and get the money, that's.
And you have quotas.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Every day. They're gangs. So what China did last month, they went into these scam centers and she cut all of them, put them on a plane and brought them to prison in China. Right? Not at 1 or 2 or 3, like 300, 600 of them. Right? So you see, that's dealing with the issue.
Action.
Let's talk about what Kenya did.
I saw Mudavadi gave like a presser.
Get out of here.
What did he say?
There has to be, you have to train your people, right? Because we're being people are taking advantage of Kenyans. And it's because people know that there's a huge gap between the rich and the poor. There's a few people who have the money, and there's everybody else trying to suck for the money, right? And so it's easy to get people, and every Kenyan is just trying to get a passport and get the hell out of here. They don't care which country it is. So
and there's this idea that people think that, and I think it's, of course, it's an exposure issue, that ukitu land mahali, things start working. Like you land in the States and now, and they don't understand that there's so many layers attached to actually making it, you know. So there's that also false idea. I see pastors use it. There's a church I once went, and this year you will all get your green card to America. Guys are screaming. I'm like, hey. No, it doesn't just work like that. You don't just book a border and then now things are working. So there's that also false idea.
And you see, the fact that it's being even perpetuated in churches. This is why I tell guys, like, you have to use your senses. Use your senses. Where in the Bible has that been written? That it's time for... And then also, because we've lowered ourselves. You get what I'm saying? On the food chain, we're still at slavery level. That's how they see us. That's why a Chinese man will come here, set up a business. Yes, I understand the cultural differences. They were under Chairman Mao, who taught them a very different system of waking up and work, and they can work like 10 hours, 12 hours. That's not the same for Kenyan. We were not taught that. Right? The average Kenyan doesn't have that discipline of, and yes, you can argue with yourself, that I'll wake up at 6 a.m. and I'll work continuously, right? For the benefit of this, not for, maziuna joksa boss amesema.
Big picture.
Yes, them they're working for even if it's a company, like, in Japan, they have the Kaizen concept, right? Which is you have to keep getting better. So you'll find somebody dying on their desk working.
And I saw some guys who said they did what? They went publicly and they were bowing and they're like, we dishonor on us because we don't make quarters.
Yeah.
But the culture of excellence, the culture of giving it to all Japanese
Asia, because Korea has the same. The former president of South Korea is currently serving a prison sentence for life.
I saw him and he was walking head high.
Yeah, remember the Korean stabber in the railway last year, right? The parents apologized. They came to the public.
I saw them.
Bowed
the
down.
The ones who were bowing. Actually,
yes.
That's what I'm thinking of.
So those are the cultural differences I'm talking about. Yes. So by the time, if this person comes to Kenya or comes to anywhere in Africa and says, hey, I'm going to set up a business, he comes with that mindset that this is how we work. And so you find sometimes that they're working with Africans and they're like, why the fuck are you like this? They want to whip them because they have the same thing there. But then you see, there's also racism. There's also different races, right? You can't come to my country and start whipping me. Are you crazy, right? So when you look at things like this, we are not primed to succeed in this world. We're primed to be colonized again.
You see it coming, or it's already happening? It's
already happening. As we are talking, we have young men in Ukraine begging for the government to come get them. We have women in UAE crying every day, right? I saw a lady from Uganda, right? There's a huge case going on. A big artist was murdered by her house help, who's Ugandan. And it's because she was being maltreated, right? The rules don't apply to you. And I just want to tell you that why I call this, slavery is do you know that there's an app that they trade house helps?
What? Like you
read the specs.
Oh, expect you to talk about like their ID number or like their
ID number niko nayo, bro. ID ni yangu. Yeah, I'll give you the passport once you give me the money. But like, she eats limited. She sleeps less. She cooks kind of. I'll give her 3 out of 10.
She doesn't steal.
She does, and she showers 3 times a day. She doesn't steal. Those kind of specs. Like you're selling a car, where they trade house helps.
That's in Kenya?
In Uko.
Oh, damn.
Middle East. Where your government is sending you. And you see, the problem is when you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 100 plus girls that are telling you that it's not working, you have to also look at the cultural aspects, right? That we are not a good fit because you already see us like lesser than.
But something also has to be said about the people who own these bureaus, because last year, the former, she's called Oroba or something, was going around blowing the whistle. I think she was posturing for a bribe. And because she was in the system, as soon as she spat her out, now she's a saint. But she was basically alluding to the fact that some of these things and agencies are owned by all the way up, which makes me wonder, how lucrative is it that on top of your trillions, you want to, even from this, you want to cooler?
Yeah.
Like, what's that mindset? What is that?
Look, cows can ask the same question until the day cows start fighting back.
For being milked.
For being eaten,
And eaten.
milked, worn, and every other, So until the day you stop being, I don't want to call it a sacred cow, because you're not. You're just a cow. Yani, ngah.
Do you think these guys have consciences? And I like to, because we have our best moments, I think, for most human beings. For me, when I'm brushing my teeth, some of my truest moments, and I'm putting my head just before I pass out, where you're there with yourself. Do these guys give a damn at night? Like, do they care? They've reconciled it. They've chalked it up to the game.
I think there's no one amongst thieves, right? There's no one amongst thieves. The moment you want to stop doesn't mean me I want to stop. You get what I'm saying? The deal is already on the table. Does it mean just because you have got a conscience all of a sudden, and we see it sometimes, because, health will sort of change how you start thinking about things. Maybe you're growing older, your nutsack is there by your ankles, and every day you're kicking it, you're just like, bruh.
These billions are helping me.
I could have been better, man. Like, now, yeah, I said it. Yeah. So I don't think people, and you know why you ask that question? Because you're thinking like a meek person.
How now?
You're thinking, will they change? And that's what
Not
Nietzsche.
will they change. Do they?
They don't. You shouldn't even think about whether they think or what. When you see when you see a thief, right? That's the easiest way to explain to Kenyans, right? When you see a big thief on TV, breaking news, the billion has been stolen. Like, oh my God, God will fight for me. But let's imagine a guy walks in here and tries to steal your phone.
Boniface Mange talked about this.
Will you ask whether he has a conscience? Will that question come up?
Not at all.
Yeah, not at all. So we should stop asking this question.
That's a fair point.
The reason why you need to stop asking that question, everybody, is because that's why every Sunday they are on your fucking pulpits. Because they know the best way to get you is through the religion that's already ingrained in you. That you must respect your leaders. Number 2, leaders come from God. These leaders, if this is what's coming from God, nah.
Let's just start saying.
Nah. Stop sending them. Because we have young people all across the world that are being, for lack of a better term, we haven't even talked about the ones who have had to marry Mzungu and they're seated there waiting for 7 years so that they can be Nini.
But I keep coming back to, and I'm sorry, maybe I've harped on about this even on my platform and other platforms, but I always come back to where we had a moment of hope in a time where us, at least you can remember. Of course, we know of different revolutions that happened before, but in our lifetime, the Gen Z thing, that's the first time where people collectively were like, this system needs to be chin-checked kidogo. And I optically it seems dead. In your point of view, what do you think that's about? Because things have gotten worse, not better.
Yeah. So I think I've also mentioned this on your pod, right? Let me play devil's advocate, right? I'm here holding the power. And the person who's holding the power always studies the subjects. You have to study the subjects because the subjects will surprise you. And case in point, Gen Z just surprised the ruling class, not the leadership, the ruling class. Because I tell Kenyans that there's only 2 tribes in Kenya. There's the those class and then there's the rest class, right? So if you're seated, if you look at how the Gen Z movement, one of the things that was really upsetting them is they couldn't figure out who was leading it,
Nani?
how it started. It's like this thing that just happened.
Is that a delusion of grandeur? Like, how can you not imagine that what you do can one day be put to question?
No, but it's because when you read the data, you believe from time immemorial, churches used to be used during single party, when multipartism was banned. So the only place you could be able to use was the pulpit. But when multipartism, they continued because they realized this is the same place where you can continue brainwashing Kenyans, right? So we know the system, right? That's the reason why there's no rallies in Kilimani, in Kileleshwa, because they understand how your mindset works. I'll catch you later. I don't need to catch you on these things, right? And your rally will come. There will be a college jacket and something that will pop up, right? Jubilee. I told guys during Jubilee time, it was those college jackets that got guys.
You have one?
No. It's me, I wasn't of the movement. I believed the other side. Oh, it was all lies. Anyway, when you look at it like that, they have to study you. They've studied you. And when it calmed down, when you say it calmed down, what do you mean? You mean that the ones that look like they were outstanding, right, were positioned to face another side.
I feel also that that's one way to look at it, but also the groundswell, the everyday rhetoric on social media or in the public forum, that also fizzled out. Now, of course, people have lives to live. You can't mandamano for 365 days.
Yeah.
Lest you won't be able to provide for yourself. So, but why isn't it happening cyclically? I know we're not so well. We're kind of far from the memorial. Last year, you saw the crowd. That crowd. And by the way, there's some cops. I know some friends who are cops who are saying, if this guy has just persevered like another 2 hours, they had it. Yeah, if just another 2 hours, that's what they turned back. Things are worse now. There's more spitting in our faces in terms of you guys ain't going to do shit. There's also the guys that are aligning to be the new idea of leadership are worse than before. But we're just going to be herded into elections. We'll vote and status quo will continue.
And that's it. So, what you've mentioned, status quo, for there to be a status quo, you have to study the people. You have to study them, understand them. You know how much data there is on Kenyans, even just something simple as your phones, how much information you share of who you are, your feeding practices, your needs. You communicate online, the things that are distracting you. Like currently, right now.
Do you think you're on an NIS list yourself?
Of course, chances are.
Probably.
There is but I know during Mandamano I was. When you look at, for example, this new distraction that Kenyans have, right? Especially Kenyan youth, because that's where the movement started, right? Now all of a sudden there's a boxing tournament, right? It's so great for distraction, and you see that's where the powers that be want to operate. I saw Burodinga.
Oh man!
If you haven't seen it, run the tape.
Were they trolling?
Mbaya.
Niweke nini?
Mawe.
Niweke nini?
Mawe.
Niweke nini?
Mawe.
Bas, ni mbaya. Mwekse. Msisahau kuchukua kura.
Yeah.
Was that a troll?
Of course.
No, because I don't think he was consciously trolling. I think he was consciously doing the thing because it's a thing to do.
It's the thing to bring him closer to the people.
But
on TikTok,
where I'd go as far as saying something like Talanta Stadium, for example. Hasn't Kenya graduated from, and I'm talking about the collective psyche of Kenyans, haven't we graduated from Tunaweza Bambwa na stadium? I thought that's like 25 years ago kind of thing where you give guys a stadium and they're jazzed.
No.
We've not moved from stadium?
No. And that's because people study you. When you study the behavior and patterns of people, because there are strategists that are sitting down saying, for example, Oburu doing that, there's a strategist who said, you are not resonating with young people, right? And you need to stop attacking Babu, right? You need to stop making, and that's why he came back and said, Sifuna, si ati tumemtoa, because he can see that the youth are like Sisini, Sifuna, Babu kwa sababu. And so he knows that I look like an old fool. Like, with social media now, we have real-time feedback. You speak something immediately, you see the reaction of people online, we study you. It's very easy to study. You even take all these tweets and put them on ChatGPT and ask it, what would be the best way to respond to these people?
Plus, that guy, Siko, by no offense to anyone who's a diehard ODM fan, looks like a few sneezes away from the other side.
Like, legit.
Like, and I'm not saying that all sensitivity is observed, but hey, I mean, youth and that don't have anything.
Yeah. So coming back to the Gen Z movement, I understand, people have to work, people have to, and there's something also called fatigue.
That's
right. And that's what has happened.
I think so.
And it was that one I spoke about it even 2024 when we were doing the Mandamano, that guys, temper yourself, right? This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And what does that mean? Remember the core reasons why you're on the street. Though, unless those issues change, you're going to start seeing showbiz. You'll start hearing new things rather than seeing the reality kwa grau. Has a lot of, I think now we should be speaking in trillions. Has trillions been siphoned and stolen and nobody knows where it is?
I've always run a clip of, it's called Wamunyoro saying, in my estimation, conservatively, 4 trillion.
4 trillion. Just, let's think about that for a second. 4 trillion.
I was already a licensed crew when hundreds of billions sounded wild. So I'm talking about this like 4, 5, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
We've hit the T.
Wait, the T, man. So, I don't know, Kenyans are waiting for us to hit the G. where we're just like, guy. The news reporter is just like, breaking news. Guy, a lot has been stolen. That's it. Because there's no even reason of quantifying it because it's just kupigia mbuzi guitar. And also note, they know. People understand that the more you keep bombarding people with this kind of information, they
desensitize.
They give up. They're like, there's nothing I can do at this point. And if you ask the average Kenyan right now, they'll tell you, Sanifanye. And especially after Mandamano, that steam. It's like, and that's why you're talking like this. Because you can feel the collective fatigue. It's like you've been beaten. But I think if everybody just goes back to the why, right? Why were you on the street? Why did you feel like this is important? Then something can be done. And the only way something can be done is because nobody woke anyone up. Nobody was woken up.
I've had a counter narrative as well to what we're saying that, who was saying that low-key undercover guys are stewing, apparently. Guys are boiling slowly. We might not be seeing it in the forefront, but there's a lot of people want to go back to that kind of thing. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen or heard that.
For sure, I can tell you. I'll speak for myself. I don't even know whether stewing is the word. I'm boiling. As somebody, the other day I posted a video which went viral. Actually, the day we recorded.
Yes.
I went to my socials and I shared, because I just come from speaking to somebody who is an employer, who employs a lot of people, right? Over 100. Who said, Sheila, which is my name in case you didn't know, doing business in Kenya, and they were at their breaking point, right? This is somebody who is a pillar to the community, provides jobs. Like, if there are 100 employees there, just imagine how many families are affected by this one person, right? And this person was basically saying, I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired. It's difficult to do business in Kenya. It's difficult. And that's the rhetoric that every business person who's trying to do their business with integrity will tell you, right? From kickbacks to KRA to, to just all sorts of things.
Hostile takeover.
Yes, it's very, very difficult, right? And so I shared this video and a lot of people came to the woodwork and they were letting me know, like even from SMEs to middle, and they were just saying, from people who are doing, like, there's no industry that people are not complaining, right? But at the same breath, you're seeing the latest vehicles on the street, right?
40 million shilling watches.
Yeah, exactly. So I, as a business person, can tell you that you know, the reason why you do your business because out of passion, right? You're like, I think I can be able to contribute this to society. And then it ends up almost swallowing you, right? Just because you're trying to do something. And now it's just like, you know, I don't need to do this. But then you think about all the people that will be impacted by, think about even schools. I can tell you that there are big schools that are running on negative. Private
schools that are not doing well.
Right? So if even the people in schools are complaining, right? And somebody is thinking about, I'd rather even just close this thing and go do something else.
So when does it give? I keep coming back to that, and I think I'm asking for like a class that would be deemed middle class and above. When does it give?
Who is the middle class? You are. The study was done that.
I think anything from an income of, if you ask me,
in a global middle class, do we have middle class in Kenya?
In a global middle class, everyone's majority are below.
We're all lower middle class, and then there's that class, lower middle class, kuendelea, and then that class where, you know, they can be able to do choppers. How does someone own 3 choppers?
And a chopper conservatively goes about 400 mic. Conservatively.
How?
But the election is coming. It's coming fast. It's coming in hot. And please don't tell me be the one to stand up. Who are you seeing that can represent?
Okay, I've said this. I think people need to stop being sheep, right? What does sheep mean? You know, like you said, being herded into either you are, and you can already see. And I said it even before this week happened, that there's only 2 kind of conversation, and that is a strategist who's created for Kenyans to think that they only have 2 options. And that's the art of war. That's art of war and also principles of power, right? When you're fighting your opponent, right? If you have multiple opponents, you gotta make it look like there's only one opponent, right? Because at the end of the day, the people who are on the ground need to feel like I'm either part of this or I'm against it. Not that I'm part of this or that or that.
Team blue, team red.
You can't have options. So already that has happened. So, but, and I know this is a question that Kenyans would be like, be serious, right? Is that the only option we have?
You see, that defeatist feeling of the way they've kind of gotten into people's minds that you need behemoth money to even pretend to want to go for a stab at elective politics, leave alone the presidency. I don't know if you have this clip where Jeff Eludowalo sits down and come on.
Are you a mole?
That is the most illogical and incoherent narrative I've come across.
Really?
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely.
Come on, how did you leave State House and say you want to run for president one day?
I've made up my mind.
You have to be a mole.
I've made up my mind, Jeff.
Like,
didn't the guy have 100 million when he was being vetted?
Like, no, but that's a guy with chums compared to like normal society.
Yeah.
But he's being laughed out the room already.
Yes.
By the biggest journalist we have in a region.
Yeah.
Which speaks, and I'm not saying Jeff was coerced or told to treat him in that manner. It just speaks to the wider optic of how politics is perceived, even at a Jeff Koinange level. Like, boss, with your 2 billion, get the even Jimmy Wanjigi, a known billionaire.
Can you imagine?
Multi. Like, boss, you cannot, these guys are different.
Yeah.
The only reason how people are, in fact, that narrative that Kina Sifuna bought and paid for is going to work for them. Watch. Because then you have the backing.
Yeah.
Because if it's just you and Babu, but that is Kina Huru behind you guys, then you can actually forge and fight these guys. So it's going to work in their favor. But now, how does, and I don't know if Bonnie is a real activist or not, that's neither here nor there to me. But how can a guy like that, a random guy, actually get into the people's minds as an option?
This is what I'll remind Kenyans, right? One day there's a Kenyan who was just chilling there in America. And then he said, what was his campaign?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can. Who would have thought that Kenyans could have gone on the streets? In those numbers. Like, we were shocking even the world, right? And what did that culminate in? You saw now other youth in other places, right? So, yes, I know it looks like it is what it is, right? But there's a guy there called Maraga, right? Who's being, in fact, if Nani Owalo is being laughed at, Maraga is being, I don't even know what
I
the
saw
word
his
is.
convoy. I felt sad.
It's
It touched my heart.
right? But the guy said, he came out and said, hey, nichangieni. So you want a difference? Contribute, right? Kenyans can build things for other Kenyans. Why not focus on, if we really want to seal, and let me position, for example, I'm not saying support Maraga, but let's look at Maraga, right? Does he have a clean record?
He does.
He does. Is he saying he can stop the corruption? Because all he's saying is, I'm going to implement the constitution. Everybody who speaks on Kenya says, we have the greatest constitution, right?
Facts.
Shida inakuanga wapi?
It's not being implemented.
Implementation.
Guys don't respect it.
Let's look at the police force, for example. There was a report, I think it was even chaired by Maraga, right? Where to look at why, because we always say, oh, the police are corrupt. Oh my God, they are terrible. They even kill, they abduct. Wow. So they did a report, and what came out, the findings, the recommendations were they needed to remove all the police and start hiring afresh, because that was the only way to deal with the deep-seated corruption, right? So we don't implement anything. We do studies, we get, the answer is this. Okay, bye-bye, thanks.
And if you want motivation, I go back and watch clips of Lee Kuan Yew and the rhetoric. You have to have no apologies.
Yeah.
If it's cleaning the system, it has to be radical. Yeah. And something like that, like removing the whole police force, might sound crazy, but it might be some of the things that need to happen. We might need to actually start a fresh, great reset for us to actually start moving in a direction that would benefit, because all indications are things are just going to get worse.
That's it. I'm telling you, guys, when my parents were talking about how difficult, and they were running businesses, and they spoke about, because Kanjo would be in their office, it was until they had to stop, right? I've come through the next generation, and I'm speaking about the same things, and now it's even worse because the economy is so terrible, right? For us, because there's somebody who's watching this is just like, what's she talking about? The economy is terrible, man.
Can I paint a picture? Sometimes we think in it's natural 2-3 year chunks, if anything. But let's go to our parents' generation. A lot of them were able to own property.
Yeah.
It could be land in shags. They had. So their struggle was different. Now, think about my career. My career is supposed to be like a high-flying career, no pun intended. My guys in my position 30 years ago were buying acres in Karen. Me, I'm just comfortable. Proper middle-class cars where you can just pay bills and wait for the end of the month to pay bills again. In 30 years, 25 years, if this thing continues, my equivalent, there'll be house sharing apartments.
That's it.
Guys will be living together because that's where the economy has brought. It'll be normalized. It's a 2-family apartment. Yeah. That's where we're going.
But luckily for them, there'll be affordable housing.
I've contributed so much to that shit, man. The pay slip is also abysmal. If you have a pay slip, every month you feel like these guys are umepigwa ngeta there in your pockets. That's how it feels. Yeah.
Because that's what's happening. It's not a subconscious thing. That's exactly what's happening. Unapigwa ngeta, right? Because at the end of the day, when we sit down and ask Aiden Duale, hey bro, by the way, where's the money? And he's like, you don't even know what you're talking about.
Those are cancellations.
And then we say, okay, bro. I mean, this money is being siphoned out of the office we gave you, right? Don't you think you should step down? Because we are thinking like South Korea, like China, like Japan. Kaizen, it's the honorable thing to do. But you forget that just because they're called honorable, that your hon ni ahani siya honor. That's what we expect. I think Kenyans need to change their mindset. And I think Kenyans need to genuinely ask themselves, when is enough? And the moment you get there is when now you'll be like, okay, cool, let's do something about it. But I think right now, the way I'm seeing the campaigns going, but I know there will be a shock at some point.
You think so?
I think so.
A person or the people?
I think the people. I think the people themselves will. Anyway, I always remind Gen Z that they don't have voters card. Because, me, I can show up at your rally. Me, I can wear your T-shirt. No, me, I can't. Because if I wear your T-shirt, a lot of people get influenced. Me, I can sit with you. Me, I sit with these politicians. It's not that we're enemies. No. We're not enemies. We talk.
What's your thoughts on Boni? I have to ask you.
It's not very clear what he wants to do, right? I know he's Boni is not doing politics the way it's done, right? And that's the most difficult challenge about the average voter, right? I don't think outside of Nairobi anyone votes for Boni.
Or would even.
Yeah, because he's being very... And that's the sad thing about politics. Remember when I said that the only way we can fix this is by removing campaign money? Because it evens the playing field, and now people have to be told, like, for example, in Kileleshwa, MCA, the Kileleshwa ward where Nani was voted for.
Who's this?
Alai, sorry, I was about to call him the liar. Alai.
Oh, Robert.
Right?
Hey, that guy's turned goon, man.
It's in the name.
Yeah.
Robbing a lie.
He's actually touched.
People in Kileleshwa sat him down. They asked him, tell us what your thoughts are, And then they voted based off on what they told him.
How's that been for them?
They should tell us, right? Because me, I don't want to speak... I'm not a resident of Kileleshwa, so I don't know the impact he has had in that area. But, we see his other politics online. You're just like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
Would you enter elective politics?
It's a question that has come up a lot. And I think about it. But I think now I'm better positioned to talk to people, inform people. I find that a lot of young people do not even understand history past 1980.
But you see, that is a political vehicle as well. That what you do, like informing people, could be the way that you get your feet in the game.
Who do you think you're talking to? Jealous?
But just always remember, I mean, it's as dirty as you can't even imagine.
I know. I tried. There's a former presidential aspirant, Ole Kiapi. Do you remember Ole Kiapi?
Mm-mm.
He was a PS, and then I think during Kibaki's time, and then he wanted to run for president, and I was I was part of his team trying to help him communicate, yada, yada, yada. And that's when I knew, wow. When I see Maraga, I know exactly what the challenges are, right? And I've also sat with a political analyst who creates propaganda for politicians, right? He tried to rope me in, and he was actually very effective for Uhuru.
Is that Mutahi?
Let's not mention
There was a bag. I was telling my friends, Sajid and Farid, shout out those guys. We do a podcast every week. That there's a business model in terms of narrative. So I know allegedly that he was getting it was to the tune of a couple of millions every week.
Yes.
In cash.
Yeah.
This
happens
for 5 years.
This happens. If you look at, for example, in different ways, like if you look at what this former Tony Blair. What does Tony Blair do for a living? Actually, I need to stop mentioning this guy. I'm sure his people, because he has an office here in Kenya, I'm sure his people have seen me mentioning. They'll probably send me a cease and desist. But there's work for... Think about it. For example, if you are young, right, you run for president now, you do your 2 terms, you still have a lot of life left in you. There's so many people who want to be able to do things here in Africa. And you have the goodwill.
There's like... now. In a local context, I know guys like our governor. I mean, this is just the beginning of the road.
Exactly. And that's the thing that people don't understand.
Next thing will be a CS.
The thing that people are forgetting is that Sakaja's career has just begun.
Just begun.
Right? And with these, we've realized that it's not about whether you are successful or not in the previous role. It is about, when they mention your name, do people know who you are? Okay, good. Great, let's go. It doesn't matter whether you shot someone in a club while you're high. You can always come back. Whether someone claims that you smoke bangi every day, you can say that, look, I stopped smoking this thing 6 years ago. I've changed, right? But it's not the same for women. And I'll keep repeating this. Where is Shebesh?
Where is Shebesh?
That we have good news for people of Nairobi. Tuko na kazi president amefanya, haionekani, haisikiki. Are you ready to be his mouthpiece? Yes. Yes. Are you ready to be his mouthpiece? Yes. My work is to sit with you and the rest of Nairobians. Na tuangalie ile kazi president amefanya Nairobi. Tuangalie genuine ile kazi county government imefanya.
Right? And so many other women politicians that have fallen alongside the way.
No, but for real, where is she? Is she is she in office?
No, she's not.
Okay.
Right? And so if you look at, but if Shebesh wants to come back, like if someone wants to use her and put her in a role somewhere, it's possible. A running mate or something is possible, right? So that they can meet the 2/3 gender rule. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I think Kenyans just need to remind themselves that, look, why was I annoyed, right? Remind yourself, why were you annoyed, right? Why are you going to the ballot? Because you're going to hear a lot of things, right? There's somebody right now. I know people who are strategists for politicians. If I wanted, I could be a strategist for a politician because I understand the average electorate. No, it's a very demonic job because it's me betting against myself. Like I'm complaining here with everybody that the economy is difficult.
People would argue that it's okay. Yes, that's the integrity POV, but one could also argue it's you benefiting for yourself and your family.
Yeah, well, I just need to remind people I ain't got no kids. It's just me. It's just me. Yeah. I don't think I've reached that place where that I feel like my skills can be used in different ways. Not necessarily politics. Not necessarily for a politician.
Or that kind of politics.
Yeah. It's a very dirty game. Right? And it's basically being the python, you know, and saying, like right now, there's a low-hanging fruit that every politician can use to capture Gen Z. A low-hanging fruit. It's like in the Garden of Eden positioned.
What is this?
I can't say it because they'll use it, but I'll tell you off air. And it's positioned like this, and then they'll say, "Don't eat it."
Is it UBI of sorts?
You know,
like a 6K a month.
This is what I need you to understand. Where attention goes, where the attention is, that's where the money will pour. Right? So where the youth are...
AFCON.
You get it.
See, they did that trisex with Chan.
You get it.
I interviewed DNA and we were laughing at how, whoa, guys forgot. That sports shit brought people together. They forgot that Kenya is fucked up.
You get it.
And that was just a trisex. That was practice.
Have you seen how Majembe and whatever his name is, Majembe na nani? Mbavu. You see? See? Are you a boxing fanatic? Yeah. Tell me who's the welterweight champion of Kenya? Welterweight. Name any boxing champion from Kenya. Aside from Konje. So I'll ask you again, are you a boxing enthusiast or are these kind of enthusiast? Exactly.
And now they've incorporated, funny enough, I floated this idea to Ronald Karori some time back and he turned it down then. I'm seeing them doing it now. So now they're going to incorporate betting into the thing as well. And betting has the youth.
Exactly. And you remember all these things are just for your attention. Where attention flows, money flows, politics flows. Right? So anywhere where the youth are just generally pouring their attention. Look, there was a bill that was presented. Was it last week? For banning TikTok.
Were they banning TikTok itself, or they're banning certain content to be allowed on TikTok?
Yes. So
that's how it starts.
The conversation is, there's a country that switched off TikTok 2 weeks before the election because they understand that that's where the youth are. And if it's going to be something that we can't control, remove it. Right? So at the end of the day, I tell people the only way you can win is with your voter's card inside the ballot. Right? Now, if there's ballot stuffing like there was in 2007, I saw Martha Karua speaking about it. I covered that election. I saw it. Right? If there's ballot stuffing kind of stuff going down, I don't know whether they still do that kind of stuff.
How come they don't get a bad rep?
Who?
Martha Kibaki. They stole the election.
No, you didn't hear what she said. She said there was stuffing on both sides, but she said she didn't participate in that.
She grabbed that. Remember, she grabbed that thing from it's called
Kivuitu. Oh my God, Kivuitu. Bruh. All right, I want us to finish off on a light note because there I feel like we've gone. How long have we been doing this for?
An hour and 20.
20. Okay, we're about to finish. Great. All right, so on a sad, I know I said light note, but let's start with the sad note and then we go to the light note. But this is a very necessary topic. So construction in Nairobi, you've seen pools are becoming a necessary evil, which I don't understand because the temperature in Nairobi is not conducive for swimming pools 10 months of the year.
It's too cold?
Yeah. Unless it's heated. There's absolutely no reason. You don't go to apartments and see nobody swimming.
My own apartment's not swam, I think, thrice.
Exactly. Nobody swims, but they're building a lot of swimming pools, right? So there was a story, 2 people have lost their lives following a drowning incident at the swimming pool at Sun Park Apartments in Syokimau, and the management confirmed. Apparently it was a day guard who was stationed at the pool who then snuck in without authority and decided to swim, and then he drowned. And then a male adult cleaner who saw him drowning rushed to go help him and ended up drowning as well, right?
Swimming is dangerous if you don't know how to swim.
If you don't know how to swim.
And also saving. I used to win. I was a very good swimmer. I learned how the techniques of saving people. It is such a cautious thing.
Thank you.
Really, survival instinct. This guy will drown you, then drown.
Exactly. There's a way you're taught how to hold
from the
back and keep this person floating, right? But not everyone, and I repeat, not everyone can save a life in a pool or in the ocean. Was still in the ocean or on lakes. Me at Lake Victoria on a boat. Sorry, what?
I tell you a funny story. So I took my wife. We went on holiday some 2 years back. We went to Diani. So typically, we did the Wasini thing, right? Mm-hmm. And my wife is not I barely taught her how to swim. She's not a strong swimmer. And of course, to the tour, nothing happens. Come back. And I'm telling my mzee about, so like, how was you guys' holiday? I'm telling, hey, my father gave me an earful. It's like, how can you take someone who does not know how to swim, expose them to such a... It's like, it's about telling me, you don't love your wife or something? Like, how? So it then clicked, because you know me, I'm such a natural swimmer. Mm-hmm. I forgot that someone who can't swim. And you know, it's the ocean.
Let me tell you something. On that note, before I go back to this story, is it Switzerland? There was a couple that went up a mountain. The case was just ruled on, I think, last week, and they went up the mountain, and the guy came back alone. The woman got injured, the girlfriend, and then he went back. He said, "Let me go look for help." And by the time they came back, she was dead. And he's been charged with negligence because he is an excellent, like, climbing the mountain is nothing for him, but not her. And so the way he handled saving her, he's being locked up for 6 months, I think. Which is a very interesting case because, you know,
exactly lost his wife.
Yeah, also. But he admitted that the way he handled it was wrong. And then also, what didn't help is that his ex-girlfriend said that he did the same thing to her. So it almost looked like he has a pattern of taking babes up there. And actually, all the comments of women just saying that was an attempted murder, right? But I mean, the evidence on the table. So just to come back to this story, you're right. I see people going on holidays to the coast because as soon as you get money, where do you take your person? To the beach, baby, yeah. Because it's hot. And then you see a lot of people swimming in the ocean or walking Look, I believe that even if you do not know how to swim, you shouldn't even be walking on the ocean, right? Uko, because the waves, nowadays the ocean is so wild, right? There are parts where the beach has disappeared. I think I saw in Ireland or somewhere. Iceland. The beach is gone. Like you see
It's
Diani.
just water.
You see like Diani.
Yeah.
You wake up, you go one day, the beach is gone. Like it's just water all the way to the exactly. No,
So
it's not a
beachfront is
dam.
now- beachfront-
It's not a dam.
So beachfront is now waterfront.
Imagine, right? So, but then when they're laying, their beach is black. I'm just like, I have nothing against black beaches. Beaches.
Me neither.
Anyway, so you see people walking uko kwa ocean. Now unajua ocean inakujanga tu one time. Wah! And then when the waves start, even just light waves, they start going back and forth like this. Even an experienced swimmer can be consumed by the ocean, right? People, I don't think, understand how dangerous Lake Victoria is. Because I see, now they have those tours for.
I've seen the boats though.
Yeah, they're nice, but like...
No, they're nice. Are they nice?
I've seen a few that are nice.
Oh, okay, but I haven't seen those, but the boats that I've seen are like, yo.
Yeah, and how many of them capsize? Namlolo is known for... I just need to stop calling it Victoria. Namlolo is known for sinking.
Ferries have also sunk.
Yes,
so those ferry catastrophes in the 90s, early 2000s.
So we need to be very careful when we're around water bodies. Now, worse still, in such communities, because I've also seen kids drowning at such pools. So I think first and foremost, because we're increasing the number of pools and water bodies across Nairobi, because before in Nairobi, when you'd even take your kid for swimming, you'd be asked, sasa swim wapi? Hakuna hata ocean, lake nearby, you get. So people would be like, that's not our survival skill. But now, I think, let's just be honest, it is a survival skill, even for your house help.
You must.
Yeah, because she could be moving around that pool, and even the security guard, right? And then we're not good with signage, and then we're also just not good with instructions.
And then if you can't swim, people don't understand. If you can't swim, you can't swim. That's potentially death.
Yeah.
You can't swim. It's not that you're like, let me test the water. Man, or maybe let's need to also just keep this thing shallow. Well, people also drown in
shallow pools.
Shallow water.
Yeah, so water is water. Respect water, right? And condolences to the family of these two that lost their lives in such a tragic and just a waste, right? And I hope that the management will take action on how to handle, because you don't want another situation. This was in Syokimau, but Syokimau is hot, eh?
But the saddest thing about this is, it seems like they took the precautions, because assuming police are controlled area, because of course of such potential. But the people controlling the area are the ones who succumbed.
Yeah.
So you want your guard, like even where I live, the keys are with the guard, no kids, unless the parent comes, gives express permission. There's no bar to shine. When if the guard decides to go and swim.
Yeah.
So it's a tricky one, man.
Yeah. Sad. All right, now let's go to the lighter story. No, we're going to skip that one because let's go to church. We're always talking about church, right? It's okay. It's okay. So,
oh my God.
I know you guys went to church, and there's the reason why I got you, okay? Some of the wildest churches, right, in terms of videos that we see online, like, here in Kenya, you see Suji Prophet Award, people are cleaning the streets, people are wearing Suji those long dresses, which you can only buy at a specific tailor, you can't just dishonea, it's like schools here.
Enterprise.
It's a whole enterprise. In Ghana, apparently, there's a church that is allegedly bathing. Do you remember one of Jesus' most iconic actions to show humility? What did he do?
He washed guys' feet.
He washed his disciples' feet. And including Mary Magdalene, the prostitute. The alleged. He washed her feet as well. Right?
This guy just had a shorty who happened to be like
the shorty is the one who washed his feet. But he washed his disciples' feet. I remember that.
But his squad just had like a shorty who was like a prostitute.
We've already moved past that story. Yeah. So let me tell you what's happening. Let me take you to Ghana. In Ghana, this pastor is bathing his church members, bathing them. And our Gesha.
In church.
Let me run the tape.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
And then he's anointing her.
Let me ask you, if a guy can bath you,
Na hapa Kenyan men wanataka tuogeshe.
what can't he do to you in terms of if he has your psyche to the point he can bath you in church? What can't he extract from you? And now, another question I always have with my friends is this. These guys who are bathing the congregants in their QT at home, what are the convos like?
You think that these ones, see, they're just like, yo, man.
Are they checking like, can you believe we are bathing these people? And they are agreeing to be bathed. Like, what do you think this guy in his inner circle, what are they discussing? Are they checking? Are they, it's biashara, we found a way? Or are they in their own weird way, do they also believe they're doing God's work? What is, man?
I think you forget that, me, I've done research on African churches and some of the wildest stuff. There was a pastor in South Africa. South Africa is usually champ on this thing. The pastor in South Africa who died and resurrected. There's another
then died for real by the shortly after.
There's a man who resurrected someone in the church. They went and got a casket and brought it and resurrected someone. There's a man who made his congregants go out. Everyone in the church, like let's say like this big church, and everyone is outside eating grass like mbuzis. These videos are all online. You can check them out.
There's another one who told guys last week but one that he created the universe with God. He was there.
You didn't see that one of Prophet Or showing
the one, his
text messages between him and God, right? There's also...
It's God's on Safcom.
I think his favorite network, right? But then there's also... It gets deeper. You need to understand the psychology. A lot of women are trying to get pregnant, and we're going to have this conversation because you have to start asking yourself, how did we all just not be able to give birth? Not me. Me, I just chose not to, but I don't know anyway. And, a lot of you are suffering from fibroids and all sorts of things that are making you impotent, right? It's in your foods. It's not a religious thing. It's in your foods. It's the things that we're consuming that are making us. And we've started a series.
Also.
Yeah, we've started this series called It's Time We Rethink What We Eat. And I've got a very interesting episode where we're going to be unpacking that. But put that to the side. So where are women going to be able to have their wombs fixed?
The church.
The church.
Can I tell you something? Maybe for your audience to understand why I coughed and laughed. I'm not making light. My good friend Sajid, Coffee Pump Podcast, go check it out. We did an episode where we went to a balls deep story, COVID and vaccines. Guy had to do an exam on the back end of YouTube, and the exam was conformist to get his page back.
Whoa.
He had to answer the way they want you to answer.
Yes.
You cannot have your true thoughts there.
Yeah.
I will confirm to the same page. Was this a real thing?
Yes. Yeah.
Was this thing helpful? Does it work?
Yeah.
Along those lines.
Yes.
Ndo akarudishwa channel.
Mi unajua nimeona zangu my channel being slowed down, especially when I talk about real stuff. But here's the thing.
It's called the shadow ban, for sure.
Yes. I'm not willing to slow down on speaking about these things because we understand that this ignorance is what leads us to Russia. You understand? Yeah. So because your wombs they're pastors, there's a pastor who comes to your bedroom and he's doing a live feed, like he's broadcasting live from your bedroom, right? And he's praying for your womb. And so you lie naked on your bed with your husband and he touches the husband's member.
Live.
And he touches the woman's member, massages it. What the fuck, guys? What the fuck? You get what I'm saying, right? So back to your question. I truly believe that there are some leaders who think they are doing, some. Have you? And here's if you doubt that these things exist, if you have a Netflix subscription, go and watch a documentary called John of God, and see that it's not just an African phenomenon, right? And maybe when you watch it, let me know in the comments whether you believe John of God is real or ni prophet or what.
But also you can be, because of my past exposure, I've been to rehab a few times. So in Kenya, the context is set up in a way where they mix and match. So addicts, mental disorders, bipolar, schizophrenia. So I got a lot to interact with guys with schizophrenia. And schizophrenia is also a spectrum. The guys who are reversible, point of no return. I empathize. A lot of these guys you see walking the streets, that their families literally abandon them because they don't have means. But then there's also that line of you're there and you're there. Yeah. So if you're there and you're there, and then you're also a sharp guy.
Yeah.
And then you end up, so maybe Prophet O genuinely believes that he's the... Although with him, when I realized he's just a genius guy using guys, is when he drew a line in the sand with the government and he said, all his prophecies are really funny, but this time he said, I see Gen Z coming back bigger, better, and stronger. I was like, Dwale tajad you by name, and you're like, that's where your line is.
Your line has been drawn.
And I'm like, I can sick my guys on you.
Yeah.
So,
but I believe that there are people who, the thing about spirituality, and a lot of us, let's be honest, you're not practicing spirituality. You're so deep in the religious. You're like in Scouts for Jesus, right? You're practicing whatever doctrines, because that's what they are, doctrines, right? I have my doctrines. I say, mimi watu wangu staki wavae white. Kila mtu akwa kiva black, na tukue tunaangalia hii side, sale tunaomba, na tuseme, kuna anaitwaje Yesu wa Tongaren, right? So everybody has their own doctrines.
You saw where he drew the line?
He's joined the Storofonini for akina nani, wanaitwaje?
Tongaren drew the line when his guys were like, it's Easter.
Yes, you die.
We crucify
your guys.
The guy, he took himself to the popo, like, hey, this guy's trying to kill me.
Yeah. So John of God, I believe that this man had something. He was tapping into something, right? Because
I want to watch that when I get home.
You need to see a guy just performing, like, let's imagine your heart is failing. Would you go to a guy who has rusted pliers and cut open your chest and shona you? But he was doing such kind of surgeries. And people were healing, right? But then the thing about this thing is when we start to worship human beings, that's when and now I think he was taken to prison or something like that. But I don't want to spoil it for you. I need you to go watch John of God. If you're asking questions about, like, because these people, some of them, a small portion of them believe that they are doing the right thing, right? But majority are charlatans.
Do you know how people hold dearly their faith, Sheila? I've seen sometimes when you post a video, I watch, you see 100 watching, 85, 125. It has inflection points. Whenever I touch on religion, it goes down. Like
there are people going to report the video.
It'll be like 123 watching. Literally, we touch on God in a way that's not conventional, it goes down. Then once the conversation changes, it goes back up. I'm like, so I think people are also too sensitive. You've touched on God.
Yeah. But you see, when there's this example, as I show you the last video, because you have not yet finished with church. If, there's a disease, I've forgotten the name, where a mother becomes so in love with their child, but they start torturing them and giving them false diseases and starts treating them their whole life until if your mom told you that you had a flu, you would believe it, right? Like you had, I don't know, heart disease, you'd believe it your whole life, right? And she'd be giving you medicine every day, you'd believe it. So in the same way, I want you to think about this. If you're born seeing and then your parents decide, no, I don't want him to see too much, so they put contacts that are scales on your eyes, you'd never notice that you're not blind. In fact, your whole identity would be around blindness, right? Now, the day someone knocks you upside the head and the contacts move, what will you think happened?
A miracle.
Exactly. I'm going to leave it there. So let me show you. Let's run the tape on the last Ghanaian pastor, because you're Ghana. And you guys, you need to garner some comments there from Ghana. Tell me what the hell is going on. Sawa. Run the tape.
Let's welcome them. Hallelujah.
Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. Amen.
The guy is still playing.
They're in a bikini in this church.
This guy-
Now, this is what I want to say. These videos are unconfirmed, right? Nowadays, we can't tell the line between real from fake. So it could be, these people have not come out to say that they are skits. So we don't know whether they are skits. But Ghana does have some really interesting doctrines and practices in their church. I've told you how in South Africa, there was someone who's basically, I don't know what you call that, but and all these videos are available for you online if you check.
On his congregants.
Yeah.
To heal them.
Yeah. A guy sells water and tells guys that it's anointed.
The Lovi did that for the longest.
Like
Lovi Longomba.
all churches have holy water, right? Where is the water coming from?
Actually, I saw. Oh my God, I'm even too embarrassed to say that.
Where is the
I'll
water
leave that
coming
out.
from? Where is the water coming from?
It's a tap. Guys are being sold tap
Water.
Sakaja's maji.
My guy. Na unajua watu walangata wanaendeanga church kwa sababu ya hiyo kazi. On that note, we're going to end it here. Eric, I've had such a blast.
Thank you so much.
I feel like we've unpacked a lot of things. Let's just open out Shadow Band and let's hope that this video gets to as many people that need to see it. We're also going to, of course, chop a lot of clips to put online because that's the only way we can beat the algorithm sometimes. But hey, remember, here, we're not here to make you think some type of way. Here, we are here to share information. The thinking is left to you.
Can I give a plug?
Of course.
If you haven't subscribed to, of course, this podcast, subscribe. And you've watched till now, you're just hating. On that note, also go check out Every Other Time with Eric on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. We also have a membership. It's $1 a month. You guys have a buck.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for having me. It's been a good time, fun time. I like deep conversations.
Yeah.
There's only one place I'll tell you to edit out, but that's it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I know which part, but
Yeah.
let's drops mic. Kapow!